In this module, we shall discuss non-parametric goodness of fit problems. So firstly, what is goodness of fit? We have data from different distributions, and in a goodness of fit problem, we determine the distribution which fits the data well. In this module, starting from a motivating example, we give Pearsonian chi-square statistic for group data, and we also discuss the celebrated Kolmogorov-Smirnov statistic for ungrouped data, and also give some relevant properties. We have already discussed sign and sign rank test. We also addressed some properties like distribution free, consistency, and unbiasedness of these tests. Moreover, we derived the confidence interval for the median of the underlying distribution. In this module, we shall discuss single sample goodness of fit problems. Often, the distribution of the data is not known, and the experimenter wishes to know whether the distribution is of a given form. That is, the objective is to know which distribution fits good to the observed data. Tests for determining the distribution which is a good fit to the observed data are in general called goodness of fit tests. We start with some motivating data examples. Consider the first example. Suppose a random sample of size 9 is taken from a continuous distribution on 0, 1. That is, the data can be thought of on some proportions. Now, the sample size is 9 is too small to assume normality. Again, the observations are taken from a distribution with bounded support. Therefore, the traditional assumption of normality will only be a forceful assumption. Suppose, from previous idea, it is known that the distribution can be assumed to be a beta with both parameters 0.5. The usual methods cannot be applied to test the hypothesis that the observations are coming from a beta distribution. Now, consider another example on a discrete variable. Suppose the number of misprints per page of a book of 350 pages are represented in the form of a group distribution, where the number of misprints per page are either 0, 1, or 2, or 3, or exceeding 4, and the corresponding number of pages are also given. Then, which distribution fits the data well? Here, the number of observations, that is 350, is quite large to assume normality. But the number of misprints per page has in general a Poisson distribution. However, the mean, the only parameter in a Poisson distribution, is not specified in advance. Then, how to test the hypothesis that the observations are coming from a Poisson distribution with unknown parameter? Now, consider the next example. This example gives a group distribution of a continuous variable. Suppose the heights of 122 students in a certain class in the form of a group distribution is given. So we have groups on heights and the corresponding number of students are also given. Then the question is natural. Which distribution fits the data well? Here, the number of observations is quite large to assume normality. Again, the distribution of height is often assumed to be normal, but the parameters are not specified. Then, how to check that the observations are coming from a normal distribution? Now, from these examples, we observe that we often have data from an unknown continuous distribution with support, a subset of the real line. We can have data from a known discrete distribution but with unspecified parameters. We can also have data from a known continuous distribution but with unspecified parameters. In these examples, the data is given in either in the form of a frequency distribution or in the full. However, the objective was to test whether a given distribution fits the data well. Now, we formulate the hypothesis in a goodness of fit problem. Suppose xi, I running from 1 to small n, are IID observations from a distribution characterized by the distribution function capital Fx. Then, in the goodness of fit problems, the objective is to test the null hypothesis that H0 fx equals f0x for all x, where f0x is completely known or f0x is not completely specified, that is, some parameters remain unknown. For completely known f0x, the null hypothesis is simple, but in the other case, the null hypothesis is composite. However, in each case, the alternative is composite. Although different goodness of fit test procedures are available, but we start with Pearson's chi-square test. Assume that f naught x is completely specified. For chi-square test, we need to have data in the form of a frequency distribution. For discrete distributions, the categories are natural. But for continuous data, the experimenter needs to prepare his own frequency distribution. Obviously, conversion of data in the form of a grouped frequency distribution incurs a loss in information. Since a lower number of categories incurs a higher loss, it is reasonable to classify data into a higher number of categories. So, next week discuss the formulation of a chi-square test. Suppose n observations are available from the distribution of x. Let the range of capital X be divided into k disjoint sets, say a1, a2 up to ak. Let small fi be the number of observations classified in capital AI. Then summation I from 1 to k fi is naturally n, the total number of observations. Suppose pi is the probability that an x observation falls in AI under the null hypothesis. That is, pi is the probability x belonging to AI under H0. Since f0 is completely specified, pi's are completely known with summation I from 1 to k pi equal to 1. Then the joint distribution of x1, x2 up to xk minus 1 is k minus 1 variate multinomial with parameters n, p1, p2 up to pk minus 1 under the H0. Now, expected value of fi is nothing but npi. Thus, under the null hypothesis, fi are expected to be closer to npi for each I. Then, Pearson's chi-square test uses the statistic uk, which is defined as summation I from 1 to k fi minus npi whole square divided by npi. This uk measures the overall discrepancy between the observed frequency and the expected frequency. Now, what is the idea behind defining such an uk? Consider two histograms, one with the observed frequencies f1, f2, fk, and the other with the expected frequencies np1, np2 up to npk. Then uk actually measures the discrepancy between the expected and observed histograms. Now, it can be shown that for fixed k, uk converges in distribution to a chi-square k minus 1 variable. Then, under the null hypothesis, the asymptotic distribution is independent of any f. Therefore, the test provided by uk is asymptotically distribution free. Since a higher value of the statistic indicates departure from the null hypothesis, the large sample test rejects the null hypothesis if the observed value of uk exceeds chi-square k minus 1 alpha or the upper alpha percent point of the chi-square k minus 1 variable. Next, consider the situation where f0 is not completely specified. For example, suppose f0 is known to be exponential, but the mean is not specified. Normally, let theta 1, theta 2 up to theta r be the unknown parameters of f0. Then, pi are not completely known. That is, pi depends on the unknown parameters theta 1, theta 2 up to theta r. In such a case, pi is nothing but a function of the unknown parameters theta 1 up to theta r. Thus, we need to estimate pi from the data to measure the discrepancies. Suppose theta I hat I from 1 to r are the maximum likelihood estimates based on the data. Then pi hat, which is obtained by plugging in the estimates theta 1 hat up to theta r hat into the expression of pi, is actually maximum likelihood estimate of pi. Then Pearson's chi-square statistic in this situation takes the form Vk, which equals summation I from 1 to k fi minus npi hat square divided by npi hat. That is, Vk is the same as uk except pi are replaced by pi hat. Then it can be shown that under the null hypothesis, the asymptotic distribution of Vk is chi-square with degrees of freedom k minus r minus 1. Since under the null hypothesis the asymptotic distribution is independent of any f, the test provided by Vk is non-parametric. Again, a higher value of Vk indicates departure from the null hypothesis. Then a large sample test rejects the null hypothesis if the observed value of Vk exceeds the upper alpha percentage point of a chi-square k minus r minus 1 variable. Now, it should be noted that for uk, the large sample distribution was chi-square with degrees of freedom k minus 1, but for Vk, the large sample distribution is again chi-square but with degrees of freedom k minus r minus 1. For Vk, we have actually estimated r unrelated parameters. That's why the degrees of freedom for Vk is reduced by R. Next, we like to mention few facts related to the chi-square test. First of all, the choice of k is subjective. Too small k fails to capture the features of the underlying distribution. Thus, the experimenter needs to classify data into as many categories as possible to gather more information about the underlying distribution. But this is possible only when the full data is available. But most of the times, the data is available in the form of a group distribution. If the expected frequency or its estimate for any class in such a case is less than 5, the corresponding class is combined with one or more neighbor classes so that the expected frequency for the combined class is at least 5. However, in such a case, degrees of freedom becomes number of classes after combining minus 1 minus the number of parameters estimated. Now, we consider another goodness of fit test named after celebrated statisticians Kolmogorov and Smirnov. Here, we assume that f0 is continuous, completely specified, and the data is available in full. Since we need to measure the discrepancy between fx, the actual distribution, and f0x, a postulated known distribution, we use an estimate of fx. From the theory of U-statistic, the empirical distribution function fnx is the U-statistic for the estimation of fx. Since fnx is a proper substitute of fx, we can use fnx to measure such discrepancy. Before we give the formal definition of discrepancy, we consider the graphical representation of both fnx and f0x. Naturally, fnx, the ECDF, is a step function, whereas f0 is continuous. For demonstration, we plot ECDF based on 10 observations from normal 0-1 distribution. Now, look at the first figure, where f0 is taken as normal with mean minus 0.5 and variance unity. If we consider the vertical distances between the step function and the continuous curve, we find that the distance is quite large for most of the x values. Now, consider the second figure. For the second figure, we have taken f0x as normal but with mean 0.5 and variance unity. Then, the continuous curve is below the step function for almost all values of x. Thus, the vertical distances are significant for almost all x. Next, consider the third figure, where f0x is taken as normal 0-1. That is, the distribution which is used for the derivation or for the plot of fnx. Then, we find that the step function and the continuous curve almost overlap. Then the vertical distances are almost negligible for most of the values of x. Thus, vertical distances measure the discrepancy between fnx and f0x. But there are so many vertical distances corresponding to different values of x. For some x, the distance is lower, and for some x, the distance is higher. Therefore, we consider the maximum of such distances to measure the distance from f0x. Naturally, higher values of maximum of such distances would indicate departure from f0x. This suggests to use the statistics supremum over x fnx minus f0x or supremum over x f0x minus fnx, which are known as Kolmogorov-Smirnov statistics, and we use the acronym KS to indicate such statistics. Now, we look at the critical region. Suppose our alternative is HA, fx greater than equal to f0x for some x. Then our statistic is dn plus, which is nothing but supremum over x fnx minus f0x, and we reject h0 if dn plus is too large. For the alternative fx less than equal to f0x for some x, we use dn minus, which is nothing but the supremum of the difference f0x minus fnx, and we reject h0 if dn minus is too large. However, for the alternative fx not equal to f0x for some x, we use dn equal to maximum of dn plus and dn minus, or equivalently supremum of the absolute difference fn minus f0. Thus, we reject h0 if dn is too large. The exact values of the cutoff can be obtained from the tables of DB-Auen for specific choices of n and level alpha. Next, we shall discuss the test in large samples. It can be shown that the large sample distribution of 4n dn plus square is chi-square 2. Thus, a large sample test for h0 fx equal to f0 x against ha fx greater than equal to f0 x for some x rejects the null hypothesis if 4n dn plus square greater than chi-square 2 alpha, where chi-square 2 alpha is the upper alpha percentage point of a chi-square 2 distribution. Since dn plus and dn minus have the same distribution under null hypothesis, a similar test against the alternative fx less than equal to f0 x for some x can be obtained. However, square root of n multiplied by dn converges in distribution to some unknown distribution with distribution function h, where h is given in the slide. Thus, a large sample test for the null hypothesis against the alternative fx not equal to f0 x for some x rejects the null hypothesis if square root of n dn exceeds d alpha, where d alpha is a root of h d alpha equal to 1 minus alpha. Now, we shall show that Kolmogorov-Smirnov test or KS test is actually a non-parametric test. Assume that fx equal to f0 x. That is, assume the null hypothesis to be true. Since ECDF is the proportion of observations less than or equal to small x, we can express fnx as fnx equal to I divided by small n, provided x ordered I less than equal to small x less than x ordered I plus 1, where I running from 0 up to small n. We have assumed that x ordered 0 equal to 0 and x ordered n plus 1 equal to infinity. Consider the disjoint intervals minus infinity less than equal to small x less than x ordered 1, x ordered 1 less than equal to small x less than x ordered 2 up to x ordered n less than equal to small x less than infinity. Then dn plus can be looked upon as the maximum of the supremum values of fnx minus f0 x over these intervals. Now, for x ordered I less than equal to small x less than x ordered I plus 1, fnx is I by n. And since I by n minus f0 x is decreasing in small x, we have supremum value of fnx minus f0 x over the interval x ordered I less than equal to small x less than x ordered I plus 1 as I by n minus f0 x ordered I for each I. Since under h0, f0 x I are rectangular 0-1 variables, f0 x ordered I are the order statistics from a rectangular 0-1 distribution. Therefore, dn plus reduces to the maximum value of I by n minus u ordered I. Maximum has range over 0 from n, where u ordered I are the order statistics for a random sample of size n from a rectangular 0-1 distribution. Then, dn plus is a function of u ordered I for I from 1 to small n. Since the joint distribution of u ordered I is independent of any f under the null hypothesis, distribution of dn plus does not depend on any f. Thus, the test given by dn plus is exactly non-parametric. Similarly, the test given by dn minus is also non-parametric. Again, dn is nothing but maximum of dn plus and dn minus, and hence the corresponding test is also non-parametric. Now, we come to the consistency of KS test. Consider the alternative fx greater than equal to f0 x for some x. Then, Glivenko-Cantelli lemma states that supremum value of fnx minus fx over x converges in probability to 0. Then, it can be shown that dn plus converges in probability to supremum of fx minus f0 x. Thus, supremum value of fx minus f0 x equal to 0 and strictly greater than 0 if f greater than equal to f0 for some x. Thus, the one-sided test is consistent. Similarly, the consistency of the other tests will also follow. Now, we shall give some other type of goodness of fit statistic. Like the Kolmogorov-Smirnov statistic, there are Kramer-von Mises statistic and Anderson-Darling statistic for the same testing problem. The Kramer-von Mises statistic is defined as Cn equal to expected value of fnx minus f0 x square, where the expectation is evaluated at f0, and the Anderson-Darling statistic is nothing but expected value of fnx minus f0 x square, where the expectation is evaluated at f0 whole thing divided by f0 into 1 minus f0. For either statistic, we reject the null hypothesis if the observed value of the statistic is quite large. Then, each of an and cn can be represented in terms of the already defined U ordered 1, U ordered 2 up to U ordered n under H naught. Thus, tests provided by Cn and n are exactly non-parametric. Now, we shall discuss how case test can be used as a test for normality in small samples. For normality, we take f0x as the df of a standard normal variable. However, for the purpose of comparison, we consider the standardized version of the data, say x star. Then x star has sample mean 0 and variance unity. Now, application of Kolmogorov-Smirnov test on x star can reveal the underlying normality. We have discussed goodness of fit problems for non-parametric scenario. We have seen that Pearsonian chi-square statistic is asymptotically distribution free, whereas the Kolmogorov-Smirnov statistic is exactly distribution free. We have also established consistency of Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. In addition, we have provided some other goodness of fit procedures like Kramer-von Mises procedure and Anderson-Darling procedure.